McLovin, what can I do for you?
I want to see how my new line of eyewear is doing with your customers.
People love the McFocals. We're just having just a couple issues with them, though. Are you having any problems with your glasses?
No, everything's fine. Just keep selling. Keep selling as much as you can. Sell, sell, sell.
I'll let you go. Looks like it's about time for the box to go.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you.
Because I probably am.
Howard Collins for box score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes in Milford, Connecticut. We all got our pair of McFocal glasses on today for the show, except for Todd Fritz, who decided to wear, I think, so these Matrix glasses. You were more of Amorpheus from back in 1999.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything. I knew I had a pair of sunglasses somewhere in my bag, and it's not obviously 1986 anymore or whatever. I was hoping to have glasses similar to them so I can.
When do you think you bought those glasses or obtained those glasses?
I think it was probably, but seriously, I think it was like early before I moved to California, so it can't be more recent than 2002, 2003, something like that.
So you probably bought when you moved back. So you probably bought the last pair of glasses you bought was in the last millennium.
I think that's my most recent pair of sunglasses. And they're easily 10 years old. They're Maui Jims, and they never looked cool. They even look less cool now. And then matched up against what they were wearing, and that there's no lenses and they weren't actual glasses, that they were sunglasses, made it even look more ridiculous. I probably would have been better off just not even bothering and putting on the sunglasses.
Well, McLovin is a man who is saddled with 22,000 vision. How offended are you that the guys would sort of mock your affliction under the guise of solidarity?
Wow.
Mine's worse than his.
I don't know, because I think Paulie actually needs glasses. Seton clearly had no glass. You went Russell Westbrook, right? Or who was the player who had
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade.
It's too many to list at this point.
Yeah. So the thing is, I think everyone's trying to jump on board. Me and DP were glasses bro for a day, and this jealousy in the man cave was palpable. So they're just trying to get in on the DP McLovin bromance, which is actually going real strong right now.
It is funny because Dan needs glasses during the show and doesn't wear them, but wore glasses to cover up his eye affliction when he had it the past 2 days. That's odd.
Well, while you guys were imitating DP and his pink eye, Spike Lee actually called in and honored the late Ed Sable with some impersonating of his own.
The Sables, of course. I mean, what they've done is legendary. And what's the guy's voice?
John Facenda.
Oh yeah. And the music. I remember growing up in Brooklyn, I used to have NFL show. Dun, 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 and they drove down the field. Dun, 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 dun.
It's awesome. Yeah, I've never really thought about the impact that the NFL films and the music and everything that they did could have had on like a director, especially one as famous as Spike Lee. Spike Lee's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, he's not exactly a natural football fan. Everyone knows him from baseball and more basketball than anything. But he's, like anyone can just start doing that music. Our wives could be like, oh yeah, I know those songs.
Even NPR had a bed of NFL music under it today during the news. Well, with John Facenda, DP was praising John Facenda's reading of NFL films now that Ed Sable's brought up. Paulie, if someone could narrate your life, who would it be?
Ooh, voice-wise? Oh, I'm going McConaughey. Because McConaughey can make anyone sound interesting, or at the very least, maybe girls will pay attention because of his voice. Because my life story is not, dramatic or that great, but with McConaughey, he'll make it pretty good.
I'm gonna go Faraday on that one. I would love to hear David Faraday narrate as well. He sort of does everything, and he's got all these great jokes about being way too drunk and under the influence of various things.
I would lean towards Vin Scully. I don't know exactly how that would go. He's obviously more of a play-by-play guy, but he has such a way with words and creating pictures from all his years.
Can you imagine Vin Scully talking about you pantsless in a hotel room?
That would be frightening. But morbidly entertaining.
Who was the guy who yelled, "Oh, the humanity"? What's that like?
The guy called the Hindenburg.
Get the guy who did the Hindenburg.
That would be a very good close.
It'd be the second worst thing he's ever seen in his life, and it'd be close.
For me, I'm going Liev Schreiber. because he's totally solid, does all the HBO work. And Peter Coyote, an underrated voice guy.
Wow, Peter
He does
Coyote.
great work. He does great, solid work.
Pete Coyote
Very
reference.
nice. Nobody went James Earl Jones.
Oh, how about,
good to
and you guys
see
didn't
you,
go Pain Don't Hurt. Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little overdone at this
Kind of
point.
cliche. We want someone
Yeah,
fresh.
it's like,
Well, DP put you guys as Facenda voices to the test, and you did not disappoint.
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song, he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously.
His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash with a silver hat about his head and a bristling black mustache.
Seton O'Connor, next paragraph.
He growls the storms of the country. A villain, a big and a bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake. And he robs them of their gold.
Thank you, Tom Brokaw. And McLevin.
The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
You do.
Yeah, that was entertaining hearing all the guys do that. I was a little when Seton went to Tom Brokaw. I wish I would have tried to come up with a voice. I thought we were just sticking to try to sound like Facenda, which I know I didn't sound like him at all. But I thought the guys did a good job, and it was cool of Seton to do something unique and try to do it in a whole.
you just kind of have to know what you're working with here. And I'm like, well, I could either just sound like a sort of even worse version of myself.
That was good. You
or
went
I
off
could
the
try to be
board.
funny.
I wanted to do 50s beat poetry where you guys would be snapping in the background, and I'd be reading in that jazzy
Like a
poetry
doo-wop
style.
shop?
Yeah, you know, like, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Well, you said while the clip was playing, you said you weren't sure whether to go funny or go serious. Which one were you going for?
Oh.
That was actually funny the first time you said it when it was on camera.
Right.
Now it's-
So can you answer the question?
I think I answered it before.
Oh boy.
Oh, judging there. Well, DP passed judgment on you guys. He gave Paulie top marks, and then Brokaw was in second, followed by Fritzy. McLevin, how about you do a little judging? Who has the better pipes, Dan Patrick or John Facenda?
Ooh. You know, I was actually thinking about this. Obviously, Facenda is the greatest at NFL films. But I think Dan could do that voice. He'd be a great NFL films voice. And you know, Dan says it casually. You know, I did an audition tape for NFL films. Like, not many people get to do that.
Yeah.
He'd be perfect for that. He's got another career there.
I gotta agree. You don't want to take a shot at John Facenda, but Dan's right in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And Dan, I think, has more range and a little more creativity. Facenda, though, I mean, he's immortalized.
Has Dan ever done any voiceover work, like, to you guys' knowledge?
He's done some commercial voiceover work. He did a lot of what, you know what Dan did a lot of voiceover work for is the 30 for 30. It was the end of the century
Sports
for
Century?
Sports Century,
yeah.
Sports Century. They did all these things about the greatest athletes and stories of the century for ESPN, and Dan voiced about 80% of them. And Fowler, I think Chris Fowler voiced a bunch of them as well. And you know that was a lot of work, and Dan had to go every day after the radio show and walk over and record these things for like a long time. And you can imagine Dan having to record stuff all day, what kind of mood he was in.
You know, it's funny, though. I was thinking if you wanted to add a couple jobs, voiceover, because Dan needs some more work.
I know, he really
Oh, well,
does.
he gets offers once a month. He gets a voiceover offer for something. I think the last time he did it for a jet company for the Super Bowl. He did the jet company's voiceover for a Super Bowl ad, and that was maybe 2 years ago.
Both great voices. I think you're a winner either way with Facenda or Patrick. Stick around. Captain Obvious strikes again.
This, my friends, is a racing simulator. These are the Danettes, Seton O'Connor, Paulie Pabst, Andrew McLevin Perloff. This, my friends, a camera. Shaquille O'Neal had his jersey retired. Yu Darvish so close to a perfect game. And that's Dan Patrick.
Who are you?
I am Captain Obvious. Obviously.
Welcome back to the box score. Another flyby by Captain Obvious. Please note that his first stop was by the driving simulator. Now, I would like to bring back another popular DP show clip to sort of build a case here.
Yeah, Fritzy, they can't stop you. Oh, Fritzy, who's better than you right now? Who is better than you right now? You got him. Take it, baby. Yeah, bring it home, baby. Bring it home. I am the man. I am in control of this. Yeah! Yeah!
this what you say?
All right, so that's Fritzy at the simulator in 2 popular DP bits, even driving in one, and he sits in the same room as the driving simulator. Actually has to reach over the driving simulator to write on the chalkboard to say who's going to be on the show every day. Why do I bring all of this up? Well, because of this.
Now, Todd's going back and forth with Denny Hamlin's people, and they had a question. Is the racing simulator that Denny so generously gave us for our studio still in the studio? And so Todd sent an email yesterday to Nick, who's the studio manager who works in the back. Is Denny's racing simulator still in our studios? For some reason, Todd didn't realize that was still here.
I was looking for confirmation because I know that we've been kind of hanging things and shirts and jerseys.
Wait,
and
but is that still the racing simulator no matter what's on there?
Ultimately, yes, it is.
So you weren't sure it was still here?
I was not 100% sure. There was still like...
I was fascinated. It takes a lot to fascinate me. I'm pretty jaded. Our studio manager, Nick, forwarded me this email and said, Todd doesn't know if the racing simulator is still here. And I was like, Todd sent it around 4 o'clock yesterday, and obviously he wasn't in the studio, or else he could have turned his head like this to look, which I'm not sure
I'm not sure he would have.
He's not sure he would have done. I think he would have still sent a note to Nick saying, is the racing simulator still there, instead of going 10 degrees to the left and looking at it and turning back.
It's in a very precarious spot, as large as that item is, because I'm usually either
You deal with that thing more than anyone in this building.
I actually touch it and lean over it to write the guest list on the blackboard, and I've decided, I guess, that maybe somehow that was just a piece of furniture, and long ago we got rid of the Hamlins simulator, and there's just some...
Now, why would Nick know and you wouldn't? Because Nick was also gone for the day. Why would Nick know?
Actually sits all day. He spends all day, just about, in a totally separate room.
Right. So
not with the...
I find it fascinating that you would ask Nick, the studio manager, who has nothing to do with that area of the studio.
It's a fair question. Because I knew if I reached out to you guys, I wouldn't hear the end of it, and it ended up biting me anyway, because Nick forwarded it and decided to share it with everybody, which was the worst thing he could possibly do.
Best thing. I've never seen better producing out of young Nick.
That was very smart. But because of that, and I'm not making excuses, but in that corner, on one side is the door leading to the restroom. We all know I have my issues, and
which you have to actually adjust your path around the simulator daily. That simulator is pretty bulky, and actually caused us all to kind of go like this as we leave the studio.
The fact that it's right between the guest blackboard and the doors that lead to the green room and the restroom and everything, but there's no excuse. I'm in my own world sometimes, and I actually do lean every morning. I'm leaning either up or against that particular item, and sometimes there have been jerseys or banners or things hanging on or over it, or T-shirts. But again, ultimately, I should have been able to know with 100% confidence that the Denny Hamlin simulator was still with us.
Richard, can you look up in the air for a second? What color shirt are you wearing right now?
I'm wearing like a light greenish type shirt.
Okay, so you are aware of things.
I am aware.
What color shirt is McLovin wearing?
That would be blue. I took a peek. I had a peek just now.
Yeah.
I did cheat just blue.
McLovin, we all know Fritzy's listen face. What do you think is really going on behind that sort of countenance of his?
0.
Oh, Fritzy's listen face is actually noble. Because Fritzy, this is going to sound harsh, but you were a terrible listener. Evidence before the show.
It's actually Fritzy daydream face.
Yeah, you were telling a story and somebody was asking you something, but you didn't stop talking. You kept going and going right over
just before the show.
It's all part of it. Like if I go, they're going to think that I'm concentrating on what Dan's saying, but how great it would be to have a pepperoni pizza with Adriana Lima right now. But I'm hoping, but obviously they've read right these days, especially I'm fantasizing about pizza and Chinese food.
Your ability to combine sexuality and food is every show.
Listen, I'm trying too hard. It's like, and I never said I had wonderful acting skills, but everybody obviously reads right through it. The more you look like you're concentrating, maybe it works the other way, where it looks like, he's blatantly not paying attention because he's trying to look like he's fascinated by the conversation.
Before we go to break, Todd, what was McLovin's first car?
That would be a Honda Accord. I almost said Toyota Tercel. I'm going to stand by the Honda Accord.
What's Scene's wife's first name?
Francine. There we go.
Boom.
Okay, that's all I know. I don't know more quizzes.
All right. Bravo. Stick around. We will show you how not to hold on to your money. Welcome back to the box score. Yesterday, the world saw the rage that was Brock Everett after I received an $85 ticket from a meter maid just getting out of the restaurant, just shy of putting some more money into it. So as my shock turned into numb, I realized I don't have it half as bad as a lot of athletes and coaches. So to help me sort of deal with paying this ticket, I thought we'd play a game called Fine or Not. We will split the booth right down the middle. It'll be Seton versus Fritzy and Paulie and McLovin, and you will tell me if this is an actual fine associated with sports or if we are just blowing smoke. First up, Team Freeton, fine or not? Sheldon Brown of the Eagles fined $10,000 for wearing a Jason mask during player intros.
I'm gonna say that's not a fine.
I don't remember any story about Tim or anyone with a Jason mask come out.
I'm gonna say no. No fine.
I'm sorry, it actually was a fine. All 10K of it.
What?
Yes, outrageous.
I don't remember that story ever.
Team McPauley, Tiki Barber of the Giants was fined $10,000 in 2005 by the Giants for calling Eli Manning an unmotivated turd to reporters.
Was his wording unmotivated and turned? And also, wasn't that an old Tiki Eli thing long after Tiki left the Giants?
Right, and they usually don't fine for in-house stuff like that. So we're gonna say not a fine, not a fine.
You're absolutely correct. Not a fine.
All right, we gotta tie it up now.
Back to Tyler O'Connor.
Let's do it.
Wimbledon 2006, Dmitry Tursunov was fined $12,000 for firing a tennis ball at the chair umpire before calling him an idiot and comparing him to Saddam Hussein.
Whoa.
I can buy that.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, we like that. That's a fine.
Although it shouldn't be a fine, I believe he was fined for that.
Darn tootin', that's a fine. All right,
back
Team
in, back
Pauloff. In 2010, Keegan Bradley was fined $50,000 for using a driver with an illegal grip.
Ooh, that's a good.
This is more of a Fritzy area of expertise.
Yeah, grip situation. Again, I'm gonna say no, mostly because it flip-flops.
All grips are legal.
I don't think they do money fines
And
for things
Keegan
like
Bradley is like the nicest guy.
Keegan
You
Bradley.
know,
Well, maybe that's the trick here.
how can you find Keegan Bradley?
We're saying no.
No.
You're absolutely correct. That is not a fine. Team Patsy, in 1991, Coach Tom Webster of the LA Kings was fined $10,000 and suspended 12 games for throwing a player's stick at referee Kerry Frazier.
Sure, I'm willing to go
Seems
there.
like a very basic,
Why not?
believable thing.
Yes, that was a fine.
You're damn right it was. It was a fine. And finally, Team McPatston. Tyrus
win.
Thomas of the Bulls was fined $10,000 in 2007 for telling reporters he would participate in the slam dunk contest only because he would get paid to do so.
That doesn't feel. Well, why would they make that up? The producers are really lazy, and I don't think they could.
That
really
feels like
come
an
up with that.
NBA fine.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
Yeah, I mean, but let's put it this way: are they going to end with a real fine? Probably.
Probably so it shows they did a few research things.
Yeah.
See, yeah. See.
Yes.
Shots fired, and yes, you are correct. It is a fine. Before the nation gives a sad farewell to fine or not, it's bonus round time. Closest to the hole gets 2 points. How much money has Mark Cuban been fined in his career?
Oh my goodness gracious.
All right, we go second since we're in the lead.
That's fair. They're up 3-2. It's in the millions, right?
I don't think it's been in the millions. I was gonna say like 500.
Ooh, really? I thought he had at least one fine that was like 2, but then he would have to still get several. 200,000, I mean,
I was gonna say
for
$2
just for
million.
one. Or you want to say $867,000?
$867,000.
All right, McLovin.
You want to go under? Should we go under or over? Basically, we have the advantage.
Yes.
You can't say $1 though.
Gosh, I don't know though. He's been fined a lot, but I'd say under.
We're gonna go $860,000.
Well, the correct answer is
fair, though.
$1.9 million.
Wow.
And Fritzy and Seton with that
Wow.
win.
Close to $1 million.
So we tied it up. Do we
No,
win
we took
or
the
tie?
lead. That was
Whoa.
2 points.
You took
They
the
were
lead.
3-2. We just took a 4-3 lead there.
All right, let's
Yeah,
bring in the
dream
bonus
big.
round.
Is it?
Coming up next.
This game is not fine.
Yeah, don't go dying on me, Danettes, please.
Brock, we were talking here, and one of us could pass away. One of the Danettes could pass away, not just Dan. We always talk about Dan passing away. And we decided we each want to request, and we're gonna need a couple minutes to think about this. But the next day, let's say Seton or I or whatever, any of the guys passed away. They get to call one guest. Fritzy has to make the call to have them on to talk about them. Someone who's been on the show before, someone relatively famous, not like mom, but someone you got along with on the show, guest-wise. So I think we're all going to think about those for the next couple minutes because we got to get our requests in. It's snowy out there. You never know what could happen.
We are closing up shop here on the box score. Always a death dedication after an upbeat tempo song. Damn it. All right, Paula, you brought this up. You've had 24 hours basically to think about this. Which celebrity you'd want on the show to sort of Googleize you, as Derek Zoolander would say. Who would it be?
No doubt, I would go Tony Stewart, NASCAR driver. Good guy, good sense of humor, good storyteller, and he's got a couple things on me that would be good. I'd like to be dead when these stories are told. Let's put it that way.
McLovin?
Landon Donovan, by the way, is pissed right now.
Oh, man.
You know what? I'm really just about the show, so I'm gonna think of who's the best guest for the show. So it depends which season. If it's NBA, I'm gonna go Barkley, baseball Smoltz, but I really think I'm gonna have to go with my man. Bay Area, Tim Kawakami, because he can cover. Let me go to
San
the
Jose
Raiders,
Mercury.
the Niners.
Sure.
It's not about me.
Stanford football?
It's not about me.
He covers it all.
Golden State?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, everything. The entire scope of the Bay Area.
And maybe working a story about you if it can, if he has time.
No one has any stories about me.
How about you, Seton?
Well, considering there really isn't any, like, a single famous / well-known person who actually knows who I am, this is kind of a tough one for me. That being said, after going through this list of people who don't know me that have been on the show, I decided to go with these guys in mind and just say Chrissy Teigen.
That's a great choice.
Because then at least you get some, like, super hot girl on the show who's a lot of fun and be like, oh yeah, so anyway, Seaton's dead, that kind of stinks, but anyway, this is a lot of fun, right?
But maybe
so then it's like, all right,
but
I'll
you
just
never
be
know.
overlooked as usual.
But you never know. Chrissy can play. She knows what to say on air. She could say something like, you know, Seton was the one that got away. You know, if it wasn't for John and the piano, it would have been Seton and me.
She could cover the sort of shockwaves that are just, you know, ringing through SI swimsuit right now.
Right, we could script something up for
Genevieve is all busted up.
We have models that said Fritzy's the one who got away from the restraining order. I tried to file on.
Got away from law enforcement.
But by the way, I did hear at the Super Bowl, Darius Rucker said, man, I really dig talking music with you.
That is true.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
I
probably
heard
the
it.
nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Darius Rucker said, hey man, I really enjoy talking music with you. I was like, oh my God, thank you, I love it. I love it too, thank you.
I'm not close with either one of these two gentlemen. My initial thought was Chris Rock, because I love, you know, making these guys laugh, and making people laugh makes me feel really good, and I think he would be very entertaining, but he wouldn't really have any personal stories about me. And then just thinking back, even though he's not on as like a regular guest or anything, because I've devoted so much emotional energy over the years to John Elway and screaming at the TV of the Broncos, I would go with Elway. You know, hopefully these guys would fill John in ahead of time. I know Paulie, being the producer that he is,
Would you like me to script some fake stories where John could say, I hung out with Fritzy back in 06.
That would be great.
I'll do it.
As depressing as that is to start working on obituary stuff, I know Paulie would take care of me and send Seven some stuff, and I think that Elway would be the appropriate person to
I would love
that.
to
With
see all
Paulie's help.
these people eulogizing people they don't know at all. That would be
It's like, I can just picture the time, like, you know, Paul's like, hey, John, it's Paul with the show. Hey, our booker Todd died yesterday. Can you say something about him? Like, how do you do
If
that?
I say Todd, he's like, well, who's that? Oh, Fritzy. Oh, Fritzy.
And he still wouldn't go Fritzy.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, people will be in a good mood when you die because then they won't get any more phone
We'd
calls.
finally get Bill
That
Murray
is
back
true.
on
So
the
they may
show.
say some really nice stuff like, oh, I'm going to miss Todd, when they're not really going to miss
That
you,
guy
but they're in a good
harassed
mood.
me with the calls and the emails
Sure.
and the texts. It makes me crazy.
I can see you as you're going down, like the beep, beep. You're typing one more out.
It's like he's still. I don't know if you called me 5 minutes ago. He's still not available. I don't have an answer for you yet. You called me 10
You
minutes
worked
ago.
with Chris Myers. What would he say? I mean,
He'd say, Todd, I know this is not a good time for you. You're 6 feet under and everything, but if somehow you can come back to life, we can dig you back up and clean you off a little bit.
Talk to.
You know, this would be good. It would be great, and stay with him. I know he's got the worms and everything on him, and he's rotting away, but stay with him. I know you will. Up close is up next.
Speaking of Will, have you filled one out?
Move the legal shit down.
Well, let's keep
We'll
it in
shove
the
some
death
Romaine in
and
the
dying,
casket.
sort of the Kubler-Ross tone of the show. If Dan were to pass away, who would be your choice to fill in for the final show? McLovin, let's start with you.
you know, again, it depends on the season. For me, I just move right on.
Tim
If,
Kawakami?
It's NFL, Paul Burmeister. I want Burmeister in that chair, breaking down, you know, the Dominican Sue contract situation. No, you have to have a guest host. You know, my immediate thought is somebody ESPN. Oberman or Berman jumps to mind as somebody.
I would have Rich Eisen host. Keith Oberman guest.
That's good.
Yeah, something like that. Oberman, Reggie Miller would make the cut. Barkley would make the cut. Maybe
Sure.
Richie Rich host. He'd keep the trains moving nicely. He's got some good stories about Dan, but Keith would be the main guy you'd want here, and Reggie as well, though.
Who's our friend from Minnesota that we always love? Barrero.
Dan Barrero.
A little
crushing.
Dan Bickley, Dan Barrero. The Dan, you got to have a couple of Dans
Sure.
out of respect for Dan. They got to look at that.
Way to steal my joke, Fritzy.
Yeah, that's what we do here. Chris Myers, who's on tomorrow?
And Tim Kawakami. We've got Dale Earnhardt Jr., defending Daytona 500 champion. Try to do it again. Can we call him that?
But
that's kind of a
it's
good
long
thing.
time ago.
And we've got Rich Eisen, and we may hear from Brandon Marshall.
Very good. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching The Box Score. The podcast is available on iTunes or at podcast1.com. We will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on Audience Channel 239.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy cow!